Welcome to Horror Movies with TNA. In this episode, we're talking about
Prom Night from 1980.
As always, there will be spoilers.
Rap fans, get yourself comfortable.
Prom Night.
Before we start...
Prom Night. Oh.
Yeah, no, we're not starting yet. Have you seen anything, watched any movies, any recommendations recently?
Yes.
Okay.
I've seen Alien Romulus.
Oh, the latest Alien film.
Yeah, it was alright.
Oh, okay.
I think the Empire Review. Anyway, they said it was the third best Alien film. I'm not absolutely sure. My problem is, I think it's a good film, by the way. My biggest problem is it takes too much from Alien and Aliens. It takes the aesthetic, which is always good, but it takes literal quotes.
Oh.
Yeah, like, get away from her, you bitch. Doesn't make any sense in the context of this one bit. But I can imagine someone going, woo, yeah, that's great. And going, no, it isn't. Because it doesn't make any sense why this person would say it in this film. Don't do it.
Can I be honest? I've not seen any Alien film beyond the third one.
I saw Aliens vs. Predator Requiem, which was a sequel. I was quite drunk and I remember thinking, this is quite harsh, mainly for one scene where an alien goes into a hospital and impregnates a pregnant woman with lots of alien eggs, and you see it all go in and you go, oh, Jesus.
That sounds like extra.
It was a good film, but it did hurt me a little
You're
bit
not that
on
keen
the
on
callback
Yeah,
bits. Yeah.
Okay, so that's that. We've also recently watched Hell of the Living Dead, or Zombie Creeping Flesh. We quite enjoyed that. Well, I think I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's good.
Some bits a little bit boring, but generally, yeah, pretty good. It's
a massive rip-off of Zombie Flesh Eaters, Dawn of the Dead.
The
music, the music.
Goblin basically reused the soundtrack for this film.
But at least admit it right at the beginning. Say, it's Goblin.
Yeah.
So Goblin probably went,
are they aware?
Arsed.
Do they even know? Yeah, the only other one I watched recently, I watched The Fog again.
The original?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, not the remake.
I've never seen the remake.
Oh, it's terrible. Well, in my opinion, it's terrible.
I think
but in my opinion, The Fog is very good.
Not
Carpenter's best.
Or with your son?
With my son. We watched it.
Did he enjoy it?
Yeah, I think he did.
It's slow though, isn't it? It's a slower film.
It's quite slow. It's just a proper kind of...
I was thinking about that the other day, actually. I was thinking about The Fog. Because I like the bit on the beat. My favourite bit out of the whole film, apart from the first 15 minutes where everything's moving and there's no music.
Yeah.
And it just builds it up. But the bit where the kid sees a bit of wood.
Yes.
On the beach.
He sees something twinkling. And again, I can remember it quite well.
Yeah, and it's a massive, great shot. And then nothing, dead silent, just the beach. And then the music kicks in.
Yes.
And then it's just him walking around, getting it and taking it to his mum.
I really like the music, and I like you say, those shots where the kind of fog starts to roll in to the bay. Really like it. So yeah, it reminds me again.
Soundtrack's amazing as well.
I love it. Yeah. Again, obviously it's not his best film like the Halloween and thing, but it still stands up. I think pretty well.
I like it a lot.
Let's start with the film we're talking about today, which is Prom Night from 1980, directed by Paul Lynch.
Good old Lynchy.
Well, I mean, kind of American TV royalty when you look at what he worked on, because he worked on Murder, She Wrote, Moonlighting, these are just a few, Twilight Zone, but kind of the 80s Twilight Zones, Mike Hammer, Hooperman, Xena Warrior Prince, more recently, I say more recently, it was still been about 30 years ago, but anyway, so yeah, he worked on loads of stuff.
Did you know it was originally, well it says, again, I'm looking at Wikipedia, Liverpool, England, obviously. But then it says, but he's a Canadian, which makes sense because it's a Canadian film.
Yes.
But the only other film I could see that was like a horror was Humongous, 82, 2 years later.
Never seen it.
No, I haven't. And I think I've heard of it. I think I vaguely remember the video cover for it, but don't think it's very good.
No, well.
But that's about the only other foray into horror that he did. Fair enough.
Yes.
But he's done stuff recently as well, like into the late 2010s.
Taglines for the film, there's quite a lot. A killer waits at the high school dance. That's quite factual. The night someone came to the prom alone, and some will be crowned others will lose their heads, which we'll cover later.
I've got another tagline, which I thought was the best one. If you're not back by midnight, ... you won't be coming home.
Ominous.
Yeah, I thought that was quite... And I've drawn the video cover, which is... What's he got on?
Balaclava.
Got a balaclava, yes.
Yeah.
No mouth bit. With a big shard of glass, which I did think originally was a knife, right in front of his face.
Yes.
With a dead woman hanging upside down, which...
Reflected in the glass.
Yeah.
Which isn't so great. But actually, the image as a whole is quite good, isn't it?
Yeah. And the way they wrote Prom Night in blood red and it's dripping. It's
striking.
It's a good poster.
Yeah. Hey, well, yes. You rant away. Music was by Paul Zaza and Carl Zitra. Apologies if I pronounced that wrongly.
And did they do all the disco music then? Because there's no fucking other soundtrack other than that.
I mean, I did read that they originally were going to just use music by Gloria Gaynor and Donna Summer until they realised we can't fucking afford this. So then they wrote songs that were as close to those that they could legally get away with.
Obviously, English is not their first language because the repetition of lyrics, and I like that normally. Fucking Christ. All I would say is there's a cult following of the album because it is generally, if you bought the album, it's a disco album.
Cast, we've got Leslie Nielsen. I'm not going to go through it. Obviously, he was in Naked Gun, loads of films. He was in Creepshow as well from a horror perspective. Jamie Lee Curtis, let's move on. We know what she was in. And we talked about The Fog as well. I just mentioned that. Casey, and then I go through the rest of the actors just to give them a bit of a mention because generally I don't think they were in much of any interest.
Apart from Robert A. Silverman. Because he was out of Scanners, because he's Canadian as well.
Yes.
The guy with the sweep over.
Well, he was in, yes, Mr. Sykes, the janitor. Yes, he was in The Brood, Scanners, Rabid, Naked Blood, any Cronenberg film, basically. Casey Stevens, Nick McBride played the part of Nick McBride. Eddie Benton as Wendy Richards. Michael Tuff as Alex Hammond. Mary Beth Rubens as Kelly. Joy Thompson as Jude. And these are the main characters that we see younger at the beginning, and the story continues later when they're older. Sheldon Rabowski as Slick, who I loved, and Anne-Marie Martin, who I think she was in it, and she was also in Halloween 2. I think actually Eddie Benton was in Halloween 2 as well. So, but that was it for the cast.
Yeah, some of them went on to other stuff. Like Wendy went on to Sledgehammer, as I remember it.
Sledgehammer, another probably directed by
really.
Paul Lynch, probably. Let me have a drink, and then we'll make a start with a story. And there is a story. Oh, yeah.
Fucking hell.
1974. 11-year-olds, Wendy, Judy, Kelly, and Nick are playing hide and seek in an abandoned building. I think it's meant to be a convent, or I think I did read it was like an old prison or something.
Right. It's just an old building.
Yes, they're playing hide and seek. This bit was
it's playing killer, aren't they? Which is a version of hide and seek.
Yes.
Yeah.
They keep shouting, "The killer is coming." I thought this bit dragged a little bit, but anyway.
Yeah. Very close to fast forward, isn't it? But I didn't.
A younger girl, Robin Hammond, and her brother Alex, I think they're twins because they've dressed them in matching striped tops, turn up as well, and they want to join in the game. There's lots of footage of empty corridors and the kids kind of running around, and you can hear the voices of the kids.
The kids are okay actors in this.
I thought they were. I mean, they're only in it very well, it felt longer, but they're in it quite briefly. Alex wanders off, the twin brother wanders off, leaving Robin, who tries to join in with the other kids, and they don't want her, and they tease her, and they keep repeating, kill, kill, kill. The killers are coming, which is part of the killer game.
She falls backwards out of a window.
Panics and backs away against a window, and then tragically, she accidentally falls out of the window. I thought the fall and Robin crashing onto some glass below, I thought that was quite good.
They obviously actually got the kids to do it as well.
Yes, she kind of drops back against the glass.
And then weirdly, the other window falls out. You don't see it, but then a shard of glass goes into her neck.
Yes,
from the other window that falls out.
Wendy, who is the villain of the piece, Wendy convinces the others to say nothing, so they make a pact, the little fuckers, and don't mention it and just leave the scene. it shows the shot of Robin. We see a shadow cast over her to suggest that somebody else had witnessed what had happened.
Oh, yeah, I got that. I put person hovers over body. Not literally.
But we don't know who.
You don't know who.
Mr. Hammond, played by Leslie Nielsen, arrives.
Right, and this is the first instance of where he's looking at something and there's a voiceover for his mind.
What he's thinking.
And that happens a few times, especially with a detective, and it's absolute bullshit.
As an example, when he turns up, Mr. Hammond, and discovers poor Robin's body, he is heard to think... probably the victim of a sexual assault. Now when a girl's lying,
it's a leap of
jumped.
And also, but then, because you don't find out until later that they put it on this person that probably is, and that he got burnt up. I know you're going to get to it, but it didn't.
Well, no.
At that time, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
No,
I don't know that.
I haven't really mentioned that because it was a bit odd. I thought that was all a bit odd. Somebody else went.
But that's
down
another red herring.
Yeah.
Again. And it's not really mentioned again, except there's a flashback to him being chased by the police and crashing his car at the time.
Yeah.
But you don't see it at that time, you see it as a flashback. Fucking hell. It is as confusing as I'm making it.
Yes, yes. Now we shift. That's the end of that.
Oh, yeah. Got rid of the kids.
We've got rid of the kids, and it's now 6 years later, as we're told. So they're probably around 17 now. Kim and brother Alex visit Robin's grave with the parents. They lay some flowers down, so we've got that transition now, and it's showing that they're still traumatised, understandably. But talk soon turns to the prom and the pressures of securing a date. Kim is going as queen of the prom, and the younger brother Alex is DJing, who is obviously the twin brother of the girl who fell, Robin. Yep. Just to set it out nicely. Oh, this is awesome! It explores a little about how the death has affected the family, especially Mrs. Hammond, who seems in a bit of a daze throughout.
Another red herring there. I did think right at the end, oh, it's her.
What, the mum?
Yeah.
Did you?
Because of the makeup on the eyes.
Oh, okay.
Because he's wearing makeup. Oh,
oh no.
Well, it's a bloke. That's fine. It's a bloke wearing makeup with the balaclava on.
Alexander Hamilton Senior High. The Hammonds arrive at the school. It has a brief bit where it introduces us to the janitor, Mr. Sykes.
With his strimmer looking. That reminded me a bit of Pieces. That
I wrote exactly Pieces with Paul L. Smith. It's as clumsy a kind of attempt at a red herring as it was in Pieces.
But that's when it immediately goes, oh, is that bloke out of Scanners with a big sweep over?
He's on with a hedge trimmer and he's looking very sinister when we're introduced to him.
Try it on your fucking head, mate.
I thought this was a bit giallo-like. Wendy, Judy, Kelly, all of them start receiving threatening calls. The first one is with Judy.
Judy, can you come out to play? I'll see you at the prom.
So they just think these are kind of like obscene calls, but actually there's something far more sinister to them. Then there's a bit I thought very reminiscent of kind of Halloween, where Judy's wandering down a very Halloweeny street. This is where she meets Slick in his passion wagon.
Generally, all the blokes in this absolutely punching.
Not many of the men in the film are very likeable as well. They're all dicks.
No, all I'll say very easily is they're all punching aesthetically and personality-wise.
Yes. So she meets Slick in his passion wagon, or Seymour Crane is his real name, and he scores a date to the prom. So he has done very well.
Fucking going up the curb and shouting at a woman, that's well done.
That's how I scored my date to the prom, Tony. Kelly gets a call next.
Kelly, it's been a long time. Tonight it's my turn.
She's already got a date, Drew, but he's a fucking moron. And actually, she's under a lot of pressure to put out on the night as well. Nikki gets a call, but doesn't answer the phone. Okay. Wendy, villain of the piece. Again, we meet her.
Wendy, do you still like to play games?
So she gets a call as well from the killer. Now we're back with Jamie Lee, Kim. She's helping to organise the prom and tries out her dance
fucking Christ
moves. I found that quite excruciating to watch.
For a guy so fast in the dance floor, You are the slowest. Where is that?
That is Nick's
Later on, or
dad.
earlier?
And he does show that later on when he's doing his
Fucking hell.
He's not quite keeping up with Jamie. But yes, it turns out that Kim and Wendy don't get on. They both like Nick. There's a lot of cattiness that I can live without. I don't need it in my films, is what I thought.
I don't mind, yeah, but there was a bit when was he in Halloween? There wasn't actually. There were good mates. There was a tiny bit of cattiness between the mates, but generally
It's playful banter.
Yeah.
But this is they don't like each other. We're at the high school. More shenanigans by the lockers. Kind of reminded me of Carrie. A lot of the film reminded me of Carrie because obviously it's got
there's
the
a
prom.
mixture. There's a bit. Well, later on with Wendy and Lou, where they're obviously meant to be like
John
Travolta and Nancy Allen.
Yes, yeah.
And then it goes fucking nowhere except for right at the end.
And the trick they're trying to play, I'm not even very clear what they were trying to do.
Just slap someone once and they knock
Yes.
them out.
It's at this point we do meet Lou, the school bully, John Travolta, but with a monobrow, I noticed as well. So
Again, no offence to the actor, God bless him.
all these bits were disposable, but then I suppose it moves things along, doesn't it? But it's all kind of high school shenanigans, all great stuff. The killer starts tearing pictures of Judy, Kelly, Nick and Wendy out of the yearbook and leaving them in or pinned to lockers. More high school shit as Lou and Alex fight in the canteen.
Hey! Goes on for ages, bit over the top. Where's the fucking teachers? Get me coat.
Where's security? Yeah, I thought, you know,
But it gives the opportunity for Leslie Nielsen to grab the balaclava and chuck it in the bin.
So they're then sent to see Principal Hammond. Again, weird, because he says to Lou, the bully, you thought I was going to play favourites because he's my son. Well, you're right. Which is a bit odd. I think it's because Lou's such a dick, maybe. The killer starts wearing the mask that Lou was wearing and threw in the bin.
That's when you go, oh, it'll be Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, Mr. Hammond is definitely the killer. Oh, maybe it's not Mr. Sykes or the mum. Nick and his girlfriend Kim are out walking, and it seems like he's still really racked with guilt, and he might about to tell Kim about what actually happened all those years ago. But he doesn't get round to it.
When is the quote from Wendy and her mum?
Plop it in there.
Okay. Well, there's a bit to obviously build up Wendy's character. There's a bit as she's leaving the house. Old mum goes, will you be home for dinner, Wendy? How the hell should I know?
Yeah, it's a bit extreme. Get fucked.
Yeah, generally.
Get
Spit
out.
on this, mum, you cunt. She goes, no, will you be home for dinner, Wendy?
Again, to very clumsily emphasise that she's an absolute fucker. Someone breaks a mirror in the girls' locker room. One of the shards of glass is stolen.
Oh, no. Jamie Lee Curtis, she's not topless, but she seemed to then be wandering around just with her top open while she's looking for who the hell broke the mirror. But there's a lot of I've got my boobs out bra bit with Jamie Lee Curtis. And you're going, even I was thinking, this is a bit unnecessary. Why she could even go to the car park and as I look outside, I think it'd only take you about 30 seconds to your
gratuitous. Yeah, she does actually. I thought that was a bit odd. She walked out kind of semi-naked and had a look into the car park, which I thought was a little bit odd, really. Yeah. Wendy and Lou throughout continue to plot a scheme.
A scheme that is absolute dog shit.
And the film continues to clumsily suggest that Mr. Sykes is the killer, or Mr. Hammond is the killer, or the mum is the killer.
Or this other person that came from the psychiatric hospital that's escaped and has just recently killed a nurse.
Yes, we're told about that.
And we see a dead body on the floor, but we don't see the fuck it is. And that's when I started to get annoyed.
Kelly, Nikki, Wendy and Judy, they continue to find ripped photos pinned to their lockers. We've got a bit with Mr. Hammond chopping wood with an axe that again appears later with the killer. So heavy-handed red herringness.
I've noticed in a lot of our slasher films, they tend to do that. And I've always thought it's Nick from Friday the 13th because you go, oh, who is it? And then you go, oh, it's a spoiler, some other. Who gives a shit?
Yeah,
that's probably with Halloween. You don't care. You know exactly who it is, and it's not like you need to know. But why did they make it like fucking Agatha Christie?
I think they are trying to make it more of a whodunit than a straight up serial killer. But I don't know.
And no one gives a shit.
No. Incidentally, I don't think Leslie Nielsen's ever cut a fucking bit of wood in his life with an axe. Kim's getting dressed for the prom. This I thought was a bit odd. Are you going to stand there and Leah? She says to her brother, and he says, "You're my sister, I'll Leah," which is not the response I would expect. To be honest, the build up to the prom,
also what she's wearing. By the way, I did write this, and
she seems to be wearing something that an old late woman.
This is what I've written. 80s fashion. It's on trend now, but was shit then, and it's still shit now.
Well,
I don't know, bloke I am.
Well, maybe, but
dead baggy shitness.
I don't know if we're being. We apologise for this, but I think the outfit that Jamie Lee Curtis was dressed in, compared to actually the one that Wendy was dressed in, she's got quite a flattering outfit, but Kim seems very unflattering, I suppose.
Yeah. 80s fashion in general is fucking crap. Just wear what you want. Don't try and replicate what was dog dirt then. Hey!
Dog dirt.
We both lived through the fucker, so we know.
Yes.
We had dealy boppers. Bring them fuckers back. They were all right. I had a Pac-Man one.
As I was saying, to be honest, the build-up to the prom is quite boring. Actually, a lot of it is. But
fucking hell, the beginning. Okay, well, even the beginning actually, but the killer bit and the kid getting killed. Yeah, that's a bit.
Sets a decent foundation.
Until it gets to the prom, and then when it gets to the prom, you're going to say what it does fucking next. I don't think either of us knew what happened. And this is what makes me glad I've watched it now.
We're on the night of the prom. We're at the high school where we spend, I think, the rest of the film actually. The camera appears down Dalkin corridors of the high school, but it's disco time.
I've just gone early 80s disco. Yes!
Love it. Absolutely love it.
And that's why it probably sold albums. Because, no offence to the film, and I'm jumping to the end here. Films, if you like fucking disco, buy the album.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the greatest album either, but it's...
It's not going to be the greatest, but it's if you want music that's been...
I think it did well in Japan.
Did it?
Yeah, so it was as a soundtrack album. If you go on, and I've been on YouTube to go, I have afterwards, the soundtrack, it's just all disco. It's just all because generally, if you watch the film, there isn't anything, even when the bad bits are happening, it's all disco music if you think about it.
So it was big in Japan?
Yeah.
Thank you. I made a note here, like I said, originally I think were intending to use Donna Summer, Gloria Gaynor, but then they realised not a chance.
Go with dog shit, repetitive lyrics, rip off disco. Yeah, do that.
Judy arrives with Slick. Kim and Nick arrive. Alex, we know, is DJing. Wendy and Lou arrive, and Kelly and Drew turn up to the prom.
Quick question. So they're in a disco, and normally you would have LPs if you're a DJ. For some reason, they've got massive big tapes.
Yeah, they've got a reel tape.
Yeah, massive big reel tapes.
Maybe that's how they did it.
Well, so when they're spinning the disc, they're not literally doing that. They're literally... No one fucking presses play on a tape. That's what we do now. Now. But why is the spin a massive tape?
That's what you asked Pete Tong.
Oh, okay.
Yes. You ask him.
Anyway, so they're all dancing to a massive... there's not much DJing really. They're just pressing play on the tape. And also, was her brother actually pressing play on the tapes?
He didn't seem to be doing anything at all. In fact, there was somebody else who was doing most of the
so he was meant to be DJing. So
he was just going...
we know what he's doing, but that's point. That's why, yeah. Hey, never worked it out now. That's why he wasn't fucking doing it.
Yeah, it's too busy fucking...
That's why I couldn't get proper discs, because he was too busy.
Oh, so that's why he brought along the tapes.
I've absolutely clumbered the shit out of this con.
Yeah, that's what somebody did.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see... Were you blown away? Were you blown away by... Did you see... Were you blown away by...
Is this a Stuart Lee thing?
Yes. Repetitive.
I like it.
Repetitive comedy by Kim and Nick's dance routine. Oh, it's 56 minutes and 50 seconds into the film because everybody needs to see the routine.
So, what I've written here is Wendy and Lou turn up. Fuck me, it's a dance off because Kim and Nick do a. It's about 3 or 4 minutes.
Right, it goes from
8 minutes.
No, it goes from. It feels a lot longer. 56 minutes to 59 minutes, so it's actually 3 minutes long.
So yeah, that's about as long as Saturday Night Fever in terms of their dance. Yeah, and I think again, it's a weird. It's obviously ripping off a lot of horror films, but at the same time, it's trying to be a disco film, and that I didn't know that until that one bit, and that's when I went. It kind of changed my mind and my thinking of this film because I went, oh fuck it then. If that's what you're gonna do, shit it. Do what you want. So yeah, they dance for 3.5 minutes, and it's fucking terrible.
Do you know?
It's no Saturday Night fucking Fever, is it?
I mean, Jamie was.
She was a
I think
dancer,
she was
yeah.
a trained dancer.
She's okay. Yeah, no.
And then we say Jamie, and then we're saying the character Nick, because I can't remember the actor. Apologies. No. He clearly isn't. I think he was struggling to keep up.
But even the dance moves are doing.
It's not of a great standard.
No, there's a lot of point. There's a lot of. Well, it's not pointing. It's sort of like saluting. There's a lot. I'm doing it now because I don't know. There's sort of this stuff where they're putting their arms out like that, pointing at stuff. The dance lyrics. While they're doing that dancing. All right, everything is all right. Repeat that for infinitum. All right, everything is all right. Put this right at the end. I mean, I didn't.
It's not at any point elegant.
It's not
or
funky,
rhythmic.
Well, no, yeah,
it's just awkward. Okay. Awkward.
Because I'm referencing Saturday Night Fever because it's ripping it off. Where that, well, generally they left John Travolta to do it by himself, and as much as you might not like him or whatever the film, that bit is fucking good because he can fucking dance, and it's a bit funky.
Yeah,
this ain't funky. This looks more
awkward,
choreographed, and
it doesn't look
weird.
Natural.
And it's literally sandwiched in what is meant to be a horror film. But having said that, good on it.
Yeah, I can't fault it. It was entertaining for different reasons.
Oh yeah, I was crying.
Yeah. We're an hour in, and this is pretty much where the slasher side of things start. Kelly's under a lot of pressure, as I've said, to have sex with Drew, her date. When she says no, he's a dick, he storms off. This is kill number 2, I suppose. Our killer grabs Kelly and slashes her throat with a bit of a mirror. It would say all the kills apart from one are off screen, fairly tame. You don't see it.
Fairly tame.
Yeah. I will say with the kill on Kelly, very tame. You don't see it. The noise of her throat being slit is quite grim. Yeah. I thought that was quite good.
You were expecting more after you heard it, though, weren't you? Like a throat ripped open.
You were just expecting a little bit of makeup, but you don't see anything really. Kill number 2 and 3 follow very shortly. Judy and Slick have sneaked away from the prom in his van.
Fucking hell, they draw this out as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they are up on the bluff having sex. Judy is kind of lying with her head propped, leaning against the back doors of the van when the killer opens the back door and she kind of falls back and he stabs her. I did quite like the way he was manically jumping around, kind of stabbing her.
Yeah, and you hear that noise again. You don't see it. So I don't mind that when he goes...
Yeah. I thought that bit was all right.
All right.
Everything is all right. Everything is... And this bit was boring. Then Slick kind of kicks him out and then he drives off with the killer hanging onto the side of the van. It did all feel like it went on for too long.
But the ending was unexpected. Next thing you know, there's a cliff he falls off. Well, it drives off. And what I was thinking is, well, that's quite close to the college, isn't it? These cliffs.
Yes, I don't know why the bluff's so close. Yes,
maybe it's good bluff.
Yeah, eventually Slick drives his van off the bluff.
Yeah, and
boom.
It blows up.
Back to the disco. Kill number 4. Wendy in the toilets. Lights go out. The killer chases her with an axe through the corridors. This bit goes. This reminded me a little bit about one of the kills in Halloween 2 that seemed to go on way too long down darkened corridors. Halloween 2's was done better than this.
This goes on for fucking ages. This is a bit.
She's in different classrooms and then she sneaks out of classrooms.
I think the problem I've got with it is she keeps going to doors, and a lot of the doors have got glass, and there's loads of things around her. There's a bit where she goes to like a garage bit where obviously is
it's where they teach mechanics and stuff.
And she gets into a car and locks it, and you think, okay, so you're hiding there, kind of get it. And the killer smashes the glass straight away.
Because he sees her.
Yeah.
He sees her through the glass, doesn't he?
Sees her. And she goes, woo, like that though, doesn't she? But the point is, did she not get out of the clue and goes, oh yeah, you can smash this glass. Yeah. Oh, I could have done that at that door.
Yeah, it's...
Again, you've got to...
We're being picky.
I think the problem is she keeps going to like windows or doors and trying to open them, and you go, there's a massive pane of glass there, and you're surrounded by things that could smash it. Normally, if you were really rushing, you'd probably go, oh, I won't do that. But she runs upstairs. It goes on fucking... I think... Is it about 10 minutes?
I didn't time this, but it seemed to go on too long.
And there's no music at all. It's silent.
No, and it doesn't...
I'd have liked a bit of fucking disco here.
I think with this bit, the problem I've got, because, you see these kind of scenes in a lot of films, for some reason it was devoid of any tension. Yeah. It was just more annoying.
And also, they built her up, not to be the killer, obviously, because she's been now stalked by it, but for being a bitch. So all you're waiting for is her to get killed. Yeah. So there's no tension because you don't give a shit, and also you just want her to die. No offense to her, but it draws it out, and then she's
dispatched. She hides in Sykes' janitor's storeroom. We see a pool of blood, and Kelly's body drops down.
Yeah, she screams. He did that fucking quick.
Well, yes, but again, don't worry too much about that. Yeah. Wendy's body falls down. Oh no, sorry. And then Kelly's body drops down. Wendy screams, again giving her hiding place away. Then we see the masked killer filmed really close to his face, which I thought was okay actually. There was an odd kind of shot. And then he chops her with the axe. Nothing. You see nothing.
No, you see the axe coming down towards camera, and that's it. By the way, the disco, while Wendy's fucking around, the disco music is in the background, not far away, and she's trying like loads of doors and loads of chains. You do think, oh, just go back to the disco. There's
go back there. Yeah, I don't know why she was trying to get out locked doors. She could have just gone back on the dance floor.
Again, you've got to suspend your disbelief. I get that, but in this particular case, it went on that long. People will probably be going, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, it goes on that long. You do start to question
your own sanity,
the reality you're in. Disco, but the principal's gone missing again. Very suspicious again. Very clumsy and obvious.
Leslie Nielsen dancing earlier on with Jamie Lee Curtis. I know we haven't mentioned it.
She was doing quite provocative and sexy dancing, kind of, with her dad, and he was
just standing there moving one arm.
He was doing dad dancing, wasn't he? He moves.
Yeah, that's great. Just if nothing else, just watch that bit.
King and Queen of the Prom ceremony now. Real climax of the evening. Nick and Kim wait behind a curtain. And Lou and his goons jump Nick. So they turned up.
This was their clever plan that they've been planning for ages. Generally, Lou just gives Nick a slap. And he gets knocked out.
So this is our pig's blood over Carrie's head moment, isn't it? But it's...
he gets held down by a couple of his goons and gets a slap that seems to knock him out. A very light slap on the cheek.
Just gets tapped on the head.
Absolutely knocks him out. And then he takes his suit.
Well, Lou dresses as the king and dons his crown. So then when the killer who's there in waiting, he obviously thinks it's Nick, but it's not, is it? So kill number 5, probably the most enjoyable.
This is the best bit. For lots of different reasons.
So the killer takes Lou's head off.
And
with the axe.
And you see his head get chopped, and then he hits some lights, which therefore makes it strobe lighting.
Yeah.
And it's quite good. because then you see the head roll down the...
almost onto the stage where the king and queen of the prom were going to stand, so his head
on the
rolls
catwalk.
out. Yes.
Yeah, on the catwalk, I put my little head on the catwalk.
And then obviously everybody starts screaming when they finally spot
But it's like
the head.
all flashing and that. And again, it's a bit Carrie-esque because they all start running for the exits.
Yes.
But that bit's quite good, I thought.
Kill 5 is definitely the most enjoyable.
Yeah, and it does trigger, because he hits something that therefore triggers the tape deck to start playing more dance music.
Yes. So we have the final kind of battle with Kim and Nick fighting with the killer. As you've said, we have the disco, which has started up again in the background, which I thought was really good. It's a very funky and kind of sexy disco beat that they're battling with the killer too. Kim clonks him on the head. It's then that she looks into the killer's eyes and realises it's Sykes. No, it's not. It's the Principal Hammond. No, of course it's not. Of course it's her brother, younger brother Alex, the twin.
Did you guess it was a brother?
I kind of did before. I don't know how far before, but I did guess it was him.
I think when I saw when she was looking and it was and the Jamie Lee Curtis did the bit where she's looking, going, "Oh, I think I know who it is." I thought, "Oh, that's a mum," because there was a bit where mum was absolutely Fruit Loops, talking to her, going, "Oh, do you know where my lipstick is?"
She seems spaced out.
Yeah,
She's
I just thought because that was the only time really that you thought, "Oh." That she'd mentioned, so I thought, oh, she's not that big a red herring, but they've given enough for you to grab on it, and thought, okay, out of everyone,
you thought it would have been too obvious for it to have been the dad, Mr. Hammond. Too obvious because he was one of the key.
One of these days, it should just go for the person that. Well, I think we've seen films where they go literally, especially giallos, where they go, yeah, you've not even met the fucker.
I think 15 minutes into Torso, I worked out, I said,
I can't remember
he's the killer, and it was him as well. It was that, really obvious who it was.
To be honest.
So they've had that battle. In the end, the killer gets clonked on the head and he gets unmasked, and it's the younger brother, Alex, who's obviously... And it turns out he was the one that witnessed, because he returned...
which
it
makes
was his
sense.
shadow that was cast over the poor girl when
that
she'd fallen.
That bit makes sense, actually.
That bit. That one bit.
Yeah.
So then Kim cradles Alex in her arms. It's suggested he dies, although I don't actually... Do we actually see him die?
I think he did. He did.
Bonked
he sort of
on the head.
Well, no, he got bonked on the head, but like chopped.
Yeah.
Choppy bonked.
Yeah, choppy bonked. Choppy bonked. So actually, Nick, of the original kids from the original incident, is the only one that actually survives. And I did read he was the only one that didn't answer the phone, whether there's any connection. Very, very little. Anyway, it then plays in with the music, which is actually Fade to Black, not Metallica.
Not Fade to Black,
not Metallica, by Gordon Simpson. I'll read it. Listen to this. Imagine something deep inside that fear and logic cannot hide, and memory never leaves your mind. Your greatest enemy is time. Oh, fucking hell! How was that, bastard?
Yeah, but to a disco beat. So it's meant to replicate the ending. I mean, it's crap.
It's crap. It is crap. A haunting, beautiful song to end on, I thought.
Yeah. And the credits come over the original building where
the original,
happened,
the
at least it ends quite good. There's no real epilogue; it just ends there.
I thought they might have done a cheap like Carrie. He reaches up or something, but they didn't. No, it ends. Music comes up. Yeah. You wipe away the tears.
It's a weird fucking film.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I'll let you.
First,
no, I'll let you. I'll let you go first with this one.
Right. So, I mean, like I said earlier, if it wasn't for the 3.5 minutes of disco dancing and the very end stroby light choppy head bit, it would get a fucking absolute terrible rating, because literally nothing fucking happens in this film for a long time. And the Wendy running around is just annoying. There's no like you said, no attention.
When nothing is happening as well, it's quite
TV.
boring.
Yeah, and you can, no offence to Paul Lynch, bless his heart, if you're listening, mate. You can tell it's a sort of TV movie-ish kind of, it's not...
And the director's cut version that I watched, I believe that was the television very similar to the original television version of this.
Right, okay.
And, interestingly, Paul Lynch didn't want gratuitous gore in the film.
He didn't get the fuck until the end.
And they asked him to put the head lopping bit at the end in, because originally it was going to have very little at all. The bit where Leslie Nielsen's chopping the wood, and the bit where they go and visit the psychiatrist, where they take the mum to visit the psychiatrist. Do you see that bit? This is why I think we've watched slightly different versions, because in the version I had, that was an additional bit which the film didn't need. Anyway, carry on. Sorry, I interrupt.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. Well, I mean, it's not as good as I thought it was going to be, even with the disco bit. So I'm going to give it a fairly poor rating, because I don't think I do want to watch it again. I might watch the disco bit because it's funny, but I wouldn't go through the entire film. I think if I was showing it to someone else, I'd go, watch this fucking bit. So I've given it 3.5. But I have said, if you're into disco music, and you want a bit of a laugh, maybe a 5. Having said that, just buy the fucking album.
Just buy the soundtrack.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not. I am surprised, because I did think it was going to be better, because I'd heard fairly good stuff about it, and it isn't that good. So yeah, I mean, 3.5 does seem a bit harsh when I look back on some of the others that have been poor movies, but I've just looked at Halloween 2, literally flipped to it, and I gave that a 6. So to be quite honest, this is a lot poorer than fucking Halloween 2. So if you like disco music, I tell you what, there's a good bit that's quite hilarious, not good dancing, but I'd just go on YouTube and get the album or something.
This is my review, listen to this.
Oh God.
Bland and boring at times. Not much going on. I did put, although Lynch didn't want something gory, in fact, he put the last kill in at the request of the studio, I've already said. But other than that, there's bits that are actually entertaining, probably for the wrong reasons, actually. There's the odd bit that's... it's an inferior movie to all the ones that it tries to imitate. A lot more inferior as well, that it pays tribute to. However, saying that, it's not a completely wasted 90 minutes. If disco-based slashers are your thing, then give it a try. Just do not expect a classic. I give it 5. Probably quite generous, because and some of the bits were really boring, but I've seen worse. Harsh for me, I think, but
probably.
Interestingly, I did read as well that Michael Myers was a Michael Myers cameo was filmed but edited out of the film. I don't know how that would have worked at all, where he rocked up. Well, if he'd have just turned up and walked past in the background, it might have been quite good. Or when Judy was walking down that Halloweeny road, if it had had Michael Myers stood like Halloween, you might have gone, that's a bit weird. But,
I think it started off okay, to be quite honest. It just went fucking nowhere.
The initial bit with the kids playing hide and seek was fine. Every scene seemed
but even
slightly
you said
drawn
that was
out.
quite, that was
everything.
Drawn out.
So I've been quite generous, but I mean,
3.5
and 5 is no classic. It's okay. Like I say, there's some fun bits, but
I think you should just to get to the bits which we both thought were quite amusing. I'm not sure I could be asked. I'd just jump. I'd just say, look at this bit where Jamie Lee Curtis and this guy's dancing like maniacs.
Well, I'm looking in my book, because if anybody wants to know, on the director's cut, it's 56 minutes in. So if you want to go straight to that bit.
It's fairly similar,
Yeah.
About an hour in, you'll see the craziest dance moves you'll ever fucking see.
Yes.
In a film.
Trained dancer,
Yeah. I'm surprised Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't go on about it more.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you very much for listening. And if you've got any comments or ideas for other films we should watch, please say. And also, have a good week. Alright, everything is alright. 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 Everything is alright.